I think fans are freaking out. Back-to-back days, bad news of the Reds. No contact with Castellanos' camp. Not really that surprising.
No.
Now Sonny Gray traded. Fair or foul, the panic that's going through Reds country right now?
No, I mean, the Sonny Gray move on the surface, if you take it in the vacuum of the move and where you are, I get it. You got to top, even though I don't like high school pitchers and they come with a lot of risk, but he was the number one pick of the Twins last year, and so you kind of get him at the start of everything. But I think the signification of this is that they're going to start the rebuild. And if this is just the tip of the iceberg, if this is one move, okay. This is the tip of the iceberg, and in the next few days we see Luis Castillo go bye-bye, and we see nobody else signed other than bottom of the heap guys to fill out a roster. It's going to signify a rebuild, and Nick Krall's kind of pointed in that direction. His comments of we have to have payroll to align to our resources to align to payroll. However he said it, I get it, but the problem is, do you trust them to get it right? They tried this in 15, and it took them to go spend a lot in free agency in 20, unfortunately the COVID year, to kind of get it right and get this team back over the 500 mark and into the playoffs. I don't know if I trust them to get it right at this point. So I don't, and I'm telling you, I don't think fans have the stomach for a rebuild. I don't. I mean, you saw the crowd last year wasn't very good. They averaged 18,000 a game. I don't think they get to the 15,000 number if this is the direction they're going. I think for a lot of fans, it's wake us up when the rebuild's over, and I get it. I do.
To me, the Sonny Gray thing, I know everybody, for what it signifies, it's concerning if you're a
that's
Reds
exactly
fan.
it.
I still think Sonny Gray last year spent more time on the injured list than he did actually pitching. He started off great, and then he went through hills and valleys. He just wasn't consistently good. I think this was a move to get a top pitching prospect back.
And I got no problem.
It was a good
in the vacuum,
move.
I get that part of it.
In the vacuum, yes. Yeah, I guess we'll have to just see what else they do. Who do you think would, I guess, best case scenario, worst case scenario, where does this go from here?
Yeah, I don't think there's a best case scenario. I mean, they're not going to sign Nick Castellanos. They're not going to go trade for proven players. You just traded a proven starting pitcher who was under a pretty team-friendly contract at $10 million this year with an option for next year as well. I think what you're going to see is they're just going to fill out a roster at this point and hope that Suarez is better, hope that Moustakas is better, hope that Joey Votto still has the fountain of youth, hope that Nick Senzel is able to play some games, hope that maybe Nick Lodolo at some point and or Hunter Green at some point are ready to pitch at the big league level. That's a lot of hope in, and as you know, hope is not a plan, but it's not all out of the realm of possibilities. I mean, Suarez could still bounce back to a 260, 35 home run guy. I don't know if Moustakas does. Joey Votto kind of transformed himself last year back into not the premier offensive player he was, but a darn good offensive player. And with the universal DH now, get a chance to get him in that spot a few times and get him rest on a day where he's just hitting and not playing the field. I think there's some of those things, but they got a lot of stuff in the bullpen they still need to do. We still don't know where you're going in the starting rotation. It's not a great optic coming off of this whole lockout thing to go, hey, 3 days later we're trading one of our two best starting pitchers. Have a good day, everybody. Come to the ballpark. That's a tough optic.
When you heard about the Nick Castellanos news that they hadn't had contact, were you surprised? I certainly wasn't.
No. Listen, if you're not affording the Wade Mileys of the world and you're not affording the Sonny Grays of the world, you're not affording the Nick Castellanoses. The only thing I can think of is if somehow the market just tanks itself out, right? The teams they've filled all their needs and he's a luxury piece, then yeah, maybe you get him back on something of a discount, but even that discount's going to be significant. I think they're clear. Their payroll is now under $100 million. I don't think it's going back over $100 million. And if you sign Nick Castellanos, it's going way north of $100 million. Let's not forget this. They were one of the 4 teams, supposedly, and I believe the reporting on this, one of the 4 teams that didn't want the cap threshold to go to even $220 million. And you say, well, they're not going to get to that number. No, they're not. But if it keeps going up, other teams can spend more. They're not going to spend more. Well, where do you think the talent gap eventually goes? It goes even wider, and they knew that. And they knew this part was coming, so I don't hold out hope. And again, I don't mind the rebuild. Just be honest with us, call it a rebuild, do all those things. And at the same time, though, I don't know if I trust Nick Krall and this regime to get it right.